One more point on this idea about nudging characters and pushing characters and bullying them. You can also, on occasion, imagine landing an enormous surprise on a character. One day, Gregor Samsa awoke from uneasy dreams to find himself transformed in his bed into a giant insect. That's the first line of Kafka's Metamorphosis. You don't know who Gregor Samsa is. So I could have told the story. Gregor Samsa was born the 4th of September 1963, like me, because every story is really disguised biography. And he grew up and he had a happy childhood, and on page 47, turn the page and he wakes up and he's a giant insect. Now it makes you wonder, where does the story begin? And why does Kafka begin it there? And what's its purpose? And we're not going to answer that, because there are numerous ways of approaching this, and different writers are seeking the answer to different problems. But one thing is true to say, that the best stories start as late as possible and end as early as possible. That they don't have a lot of warming up time. That the minute the trap opens in the Greyhound Stadium, those dogs better start running. They can't come out and start sharpening their pencils. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to see, apart from the kind of voyeur that's in us, maybe, the actor warming up before she goes on stage. We want her to come out alive in the part. So the game, the warm-up is important. It's important to know who the character is, where she's come from, why he did this, etc., etc., and then get as far into the story in your mind before you start it. And then once you get to the point where the story's objective has been reached, where the story is heading towards conclusion, end it. The fairy tale always begins before the story begins. Once upon a time, this happened, that happened, nothing changes. And then one day, and then there's always this little gift at the end that they all lived happily ever after. And you're back into eternity, cool running, etc., etc. And those stories are reassurances, and they are the foundations of how we tell stories, because they're the first stories most of us hear. But the truth is, as you get a bit older, you get a bit more sophisticated, and you also get a bit less patient. Get to the story, and as the story is ending, get out of the story. Don't keep telling the end.